Hi, my name is Phillip Lechter, and welcome to the Lechter Residence, the birthplace of Rich Dad Poor Dad, 3 Feet from Gold, Outwitting the Devil, and so many more books that have made a difference in millions of people's lives. Come on in, let me show you around.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back to another episode of Book of the Week. My name is Phillip Lechter and happy to be here with you. Today we are going to talk about another incredible book, The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. Now Malcolm Gladwell has quite a few books out there that you've probably seen, but this is the one for me that really made a significant difference. And I want to talk to you about it from the perspective of being an entrepreneur. Right? When we think about books and how books impact our lives and our careers, our professions, and our entrepreneurial ventures, this is one of those books that's really, really important to see the fine-tuned elements within it. And as we talk about that, Malcolm Gladwell, what he wanted to discover is, what does it take to make that tipping point, right? When you have an idea or a concept and you're getting it started, you're getting it going, you're moving, you're pushing really, really hard, and it gets to that one point where all of a sudden you no longer have to push and it takes off. It's like you get it to the top of that mountain and then boom, it just takes off with momentum from there. And what Malcolm discovered is that there are 3 specific factors or laws that he identified that really get that concept, point, or person to that tipping point. And I want to open the book up and I want to share these laws with you. As we talk about the laws, the first law that he discovered was the law of the few. The law of the few. And in the law of the few, what he talks about is the idea of the connector, the maven, and the salesperson. Now, each of these individuals has a different power or influence, right? The connector, somebody that knows a lot of people. And there's probably somebody in your life that you know that if you told something to, and typically I'm talking about telling them something good that you want to be shared, right? Not a secret, but one of those things that you want to be shared out there. What you find is that the connector is the person that can get it out there. They know people. And then you have your mavens. Your mavens are those that know information, right? So while a connector might be the one to spread the information, the mavens have the information. And that third person of the law of the few is the salesperson. That's the person that can actually persuade, right? And so what he discovered is in the law of the few is that you only need to have a couple connectors, mavens, and salespeople within inside of your idea circle or concept to get to that tipping point. And often it's just one, right? It might be just that one connector that all of a sudden blows this off the sky or out of the roof or into that stardom that you want your idea to take. So as we shift into law number 2 is the stickiness factor. And the stickiness factor, this is the piece that makes your idea or concept really stand out, right? It's what makes it memorable. Where does it take? What do people think about? How do they remember that concept? If you think about this idea, if I came to you 20 years ago and said, I'm going to create a company called Yahoo, you'd be like, what? Right? And it's amazing when you think about Yahoo, Google, Facebook, all of these things that have been that we now know as commonplace in today's society, all had a stickiness factor, right? This idea that, wow, I can remember that, I can connect to that. And sometimes it might be an advertising slogan, and oftentimes that's exactly what it is, but it's that stickiness factor, that unique concept that really comes together. The third element that he talks about is the power of context. Now, when I say context, that's C-O-N-T-E-X-T. And context, this is the environment. For an idea or a concept to get to that tipping point and to all of a sudden start running down the mountain, the environment needs to be set up correct. And oftentimes, it's just the smallest changes in the environment. If I use that idea of the wheel, or you're pushing this wheel up a cliff, the smoother I can make that area, the easier it is to push, right? The rounder the edges, the easier it is to push. And so oftentimes the way we shape our environment, that context, is so critical to the tipping point taking place and coming to fruition. So in summary, when you're really looking to get an idea out and get this to make happen, It is so critical that A, we study the law of the few, we have our stickiness factor, and we understand our context. My name is Philip Lechter, and thank you for joining me on this episode of Book of the Week, and we'll see you next time.